Porsha Williams just dropped a bombshell. She's confirmed that she's dating a woman. And if that wasn't enough internet chaos for 1 week, Cam Newton is making headlines of his own after admitting he wanted to know Jasmine Brown's body count before getting serious with her. 2 viral scandals in 1 week, and social media is losing its mind. But what's really going on behind the headlines? Because once you hear the full story, the reactions, and the messy truth behind both of these confessions, you'll realize this week in celebrity drama might just be the wildest one yet. Porsha Williams, the outspoken and glamorous star of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, has once again set the internet on fire. This time, it's not about a reality TV feud, her lavish lifestyle, or her ex-husband. It's about love and who she's chosen to love. In a bold, unapologetic statement that left fans and critics in disbelief, Porsha confirmed she's in a relationship with a woman. Yes, you heard that right. The same Porsha, who's been romantically linked to several high-profile men in the past, is now embracing a new chapter of her life that no one saw coming. Reactions have been explosive. Some fans are cheering her on for living her truth, praising her confidence and growth. Others are calling it a publicity stunt, accusing her of chasing attention. But those close to Porsha say this revelation is far more personal and heartfelt than anyone realizes. It's a story about self-discovery, freedom, and choosing happiness on her own terms, regardless of public opinion. Meanwhile, former NFL quarterback Cam Newton is trending for a completely different reason. During a recent interview, he shocked listeners by revealing that he wanted to know his girlfriend Jasmine Brown's body count before committing to her. The comment instantly sparked outrage, igniting debates about double standards, trust, and the fragile state of modern dating. Critics accused Cam of hypocrisy and insecurity, while his supporters argued that honesty and transparency should go both ways in relationships. So, what do these 2 viral confessions really reveal? Porsha's story reflects a shift in how celebrities are reclaiming their narratives and redefining love on their own terms. Cam's, on the other hand, exposes the lingering tension between outdated gender expectations and evolving relationship values. When you look closer, both stories challenge how we view love, privacy, and authenticity in the spotlight, and that's exactly why everyone's talking. Porsha Williams has always been a name that commands attention. Whether it's her fiery moments on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, her high-profile marriage to Simon Gobadia, or the countless rumors that followed her every move, she's always kept people talking. But no one, and I mean no one, saw this coming. The whisper started when fans noticed a subtle change in Porsha's Instagram activity. She began posting cryptic captions about freedom, truth, and real love. At first, most people assumed it was just another self-love phase after her split from Simon. But then things got interesting. Porsha appeared in a series of cozy photos with a woman whose face was partially hidden. There were no tags, no explanations, just smiles, champagne, and chemistry that couldn't be ignored. The internet did what it always does. It started speculating. Blogs began circulating screenshots. Fans on X and TikTok started zooming in on every detail. Before long, someone identified the mystery woman, a well-known creative consultant who had been quietly working with Porsha on a few upcoming projects. That's when the story exploded. Within hours, #Porsha Williams was trending across social media. Some fans flooded her comments with love and support, praising her for embracing her truth and living authentically. One user wrote, "Porsha looks happier than ever. This energy is unmatched." Another chimed in, "Finally, she's glowing like someone in real love, not just reality TV love." But not everyone was celebrating. A wave of criticism hit just as fast. Some questioned her motives, accusing her of chasing attention or using the relationship as a marketing move for a new project. Others dragged up her past relationships, especially her controversial marriage to Simon Gobadia, speculating that this new chapter was an act of rebellion or revenge. Then, Porsha decided to clear the air in her own words. During a candid Instagram live session, she finally said it. "Yes, I'm dating a woman, and I've never felt more seen, more appreciated, or more loved in my entire life." That one sentence sent the internet into complete meltdown. Clips from her live went viral within minutes. Many fans called the moment powerful and revolutionary, especially for a Black woman in the public eye who's built a brand around glam, confidence, and faith. Others questioned whether it was genuine or performative, pointing out how quickly celebrity relationships can turn into media spectacles. But here's what many people missed. Behind that calm, confident statement was a woman who's been through years of public scrutiny, heartbreak, and reinvention. From her early days on reality TV to her business ventures and personal struggles, Porsha has learned that no matter what she does, people will always have something to say. This time, though, she didn't seem to care. She looked liberated. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. And maybe that's the real story here. Maybe this isn't about shock value or attention. Maybe it's about growth, about redefining love on her own terms, free from public judgment. Still, the controversy didn't end there. Because as wild as Porsha's revelation was, it somehow became part of a bigger conversation, one that connected her situation to a broader debate happening in Hollywood and beyond. And the person who unexpectedly poured gasoline on that fire was none other than Cam Newton. While Porsha Williams was breaking the internet with love, Cam Newton was breaking it for a very different reason, and not in a good way. It all started during a candid sit-down on a popular podcast, where the topic of relationships came up. Cam, known for his confidence both on and off the field, began sharing his thoughts about what he looks for in a woman. But what began as a casual conversation quickly spiraled into one of the most controversial interviews of the year. When the host asked Cam Newton about his relationship with actress and comedian Jasmine Brown, better known as Watch Jazzy, he didn't hold back. He said, and I quote, "Before I take any woman seriously, I need to know her body count. I'm not trying to wife up somebody that's been all around." That single sentence set the internet on fire. Within minutes, clips of the conversation were circulating across TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. People were outraged. Some called Cam out of touch. Others labeled him insecure. And many accused him of promoting toxic masculinity. But here's the thing, this wasn't the first time Cam Newton sparked backlash for his opinions on women. Longtime fans might remember an earlier interview where he said he wanted a woman who knows when to be quiet and lets a man lead. That statement had already left a bad taste in people's mouths, especially among women who felt he was reinforcing outdated gender roles. When Cam made this new comment about Jasmine Brown's body count, the reaction was explosive. Jasmine herself didn't respond directly at first, but her fans did, and loudly. They flooded social media with posts defending her, calling Cam's mindset hypocritical and outdated. One viral tweet read, "Men like Cam Newton want purity, but brag about their own body counts like it's a trophy." Another said, "Imagine dating a woman like Jasmine Brown, beautiful, successful, talented, and worrying about how many people she's been with instead of how she treats you." The debate got so intense that even major media outlets began covering it. YouTubers, relationship coaches, and social commentators all jumped in with their own takes. Everyone seemed to have an opinion, and that's exactly why the story kept spreading. But let's break it down a little deeper. Cam Newton is no stranger to controversy. From his NFL career to his personal life, he's always been in the spotlight for both triumph and turmoil. Some people believe his strict views on women and relationships come from his upbringing, a traditional Southern background where gender roles were clearly defined. Others argue it's about ego and control, a desire to maintain dominance in every area of his life, including love. Meanwhile, Jasmine Brown, known for her vibrant comedy, independence, and confidence, has always been open about her views on relationships. In previous interviews, she's talked about wanting to be submissive to the right man, but not to one who doesn't deserve that role. She explained that real submission comes from trust, not from being told what to do. When people heard Cam's comments, many felt he completely missed the point. Instead of seeing Jasmine as an equal partner, it sounded like he viewed her through a lens of ownership, as if her worth depended on her past. And in today's world, that mindset doesn't sit well with audiences who are more vocal than ever about equality and respect. But what really pushed the story into viral territory wasn't just the comment itself, it was the timing. Cam's interview dropped around the same time Porsha Williams confirmed her new relationship. Two totally different stories, yet they hit the internet back to back. On one hand, you had Porsha, a black woman, stepping boldly into a relationship that defied traditional expectations and publicly owning her happiness. On the other, you had Cam Newton, a black man, reinforcing the same old stereotypes that people are trying to move away from. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just debating relationships anymore. It was dissecting gender politics, societal pressure, and double standards within the black celebrity community. One viral TikTok put it perfectly. While Porsha's out here breaking barriers, Cam's out here rebuilding them. That contrast lit a firestorm across every platform. Commentators began asking tough questions. Why are women still being judged by their past while men are celebrated for theirs? Why is authenticity applauded for one person but condemned for another? And most importantly, why are so many celebrities still struggling to adapt to evolving ideas about love, gender, and self-expression? By the time Cam tried to clarify his statement in a follow-up interview, saying he didn't mean it like that and that he simply values purity and honesty, it was too late. The damage was done. The clip had already gone viral and people had made up their minds. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because beneath all the outrage, hot takes, and social media debates lies a deeper issue. One that actually connects both Cam Newton and Porsha Williams in ways most people haven't noticed yet. It's about image, identity, and the expectations placed on black celebrities when it comes to love and relationships. On the surface, Porsha and Cam's stories couldn't be more different. One is about a woman embracing freedom and breaking societal expectations. The other is about a man holding on to traditional standards many believe should have been left in the past. But dig deeper, and you realize both stories are really about the same thing: the constant tug-of-war between authenticity and approval in today's culture. Authenticity has become the new buzzword. Everyone talks about being real, transparent, and living in their truth. But the moment someone actually does that, especially when it challenges norms, the internet explodes with judgment. Porsha Williams living openly in a same-sex relationship should have been a moment of freedom and celebration. Instead, it became a battlefield of opinions, morality debates, and viral think pieces. Some fans praised her courage, calling it a new era for representation. Others accused her of doing it for attention. And that reaction says more about us than it does about her. Because deep down, our culture still struggles to let celebrities evolve. We want them to stay the same, to fit the image we created for them in our minds. But Porsha refused to stay boxed in. She's rewriting her story in real time. And that's exactly what makes people uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Cam Newton's controversy shows the flip side of that same coin. He represents the part of society that clings to control, hierarchy, and outdated ideals about what men and women should be. His comments reflect a fear of shifting dynamics, of women having equal say, equal freedom, and equal voice. So when you put these two stories side by side, what you see isn't just gossip, it's reflection. A mirror held up to how we still define love, power, and gender roles in 2025. Cam Newton's statement and Porsha Williams' revelation may seem unrelated, but together they tell a bigger story. One about how far we've come and how far we still have to go. Because whether it's a woman choosing authenticity or a man clinging to old ideals, both are shaped by the same pressure: the world's obsession with controlling the narrative of love. And in that battle between perception and truth, between expectation and evolution, one thing becomes clear: celebrity or not, everyone is still trying to figure out what it really means to be free. He represents the old guard, the mindset that says men should lead, women should follow, and purity equals worth. What's fascinating is that Cam Newton probably didn't think his comment would be controversial at all. To him, that viewpoint might have seemed normal, maybe even honorable. But the world has changed, and social media made sure to remind him of that instantly. Together, these two stories, Cam's comment and Porsha Williams' relationship reveal, expose just how divided society still is about relationships, gender roles, and identity. Especially when it comes to Black public figures, there's an ongoing cultural tension between the old and the new, between tradition and transformation. In one corner, we have voices demanding freedom, the right to love who they love, to live without apology, to define themselves on their own terms. In the other corner, there are people clinging to control, to rules that once felt safe, to systems that might have made sense decades ago but no longer fit the world we live in today. What makes this so powerful is that both sides genuinely believe they're right. Porsha's supporters see her as a symbol of liberation, a woman no longer living for anyone else's approval. Cam's defenders, on the other hand, argue that he's simply expressing his standards and values, something men are often criticized for doing. And in that clash, you can feel the pulse of a much larger cultural shift happening right now. Think about it. For decades, the entertainment industry told us what love should look like, who should be with whom, and what's considered acceptable. But thanks to social media, those rules are being rewritten in real time by the people actually living their lives online. Porsha's announcement wasn't just a relationship update, it was a challenge to those old rules. It told the world that love doesn't have to fit a mold. Cam's comment, however, reminded everyone that not everyone is ready for that change. In fact, some are still fighting hard to hold the line against it, and this battle isn't just happening in Hollywood. It's unfolding in everyday life, in comment sections on podcasts, and even at dinner tables. People everywhere are arguing about submission, loyalty, equality, and the meaning of real love. What's wild is how these celebrity stories have become mirrors for our own insecurities and beliefs. When people defend Cam, they're often defending the traditional idea that men should be protectors and leaders. When people support Porsha, they're defending the belief that love should be limitless and free. Both sides crave validation and use these celebrities as proof of their point. But what if both sides are missing something? What if the real issue isn't who's right or wrong, but why we're still so uncomfortable letting people define love for themselves? Porsha Williams didn't need permission to love differently. Cam Newton didn't need a script to express his beliefs. Yet both were instantly judged, dissected, and labeled. That's the price of fame in the social media era, where personal choices become public battlegrounds. Still, there's something undeniably powerful about how both stories unfolded. Together, they've sparked one of the most honest cultural conversations in recent memory. People aren't just gossiping. They're reflecting, asking hard questions, and challenging long-held ideas about gender, sexuality, respect, and authenticity. And here's the twist. What if that's exactly what needed to happen? What if, in their own ways, both Porsha and Cam are forcing us to look in the mirror? Because love in 2025 isn't just about who you're with. It's about who you are and whether you have the courage to stand by it when the world is watching. When stories like these break, the first wave of reaction always comes from the public. The tweets, TikToks, think pieces, and reaction videos. But the second wave, that's when the big voices start chiming in. And this time, it wasn't just fans talking. Some of Hollywood's most recognizable names had something to say about both Porsha Williams and Cam Newton, and what they said turned the heat up even more. Let's start with Porsha. After her Instagram Live reveal, several celebrities and fellow reality stars flooded her comments with support. Candy Burris from The Real Housewives of Atlanta wrote, "Love is love. Proud of you for walking in your truth." Lonnie Love from The Real added, "This is the kind of joy we love to see. Be happy. Be free." And just like that, the internet began to shift. What started as shock and gossip slowly turned into a wave of empowerment and praise. Even public figures outside the entertainment world joined in. Social activists and LGBTQ+ advocates celebrated Porsha's courage to live openly. A tweet from a well-known writer went viral, saying, "For a Black woman in the public eye to openly date another woman, that's not scandalous. That's revolutionary." And she was right. Representation matters, especially for someone with Porsha's platform. Her announcement sent a message louder than any headline. Love doesn't need approval to be valid, but not everyone was clapping. Critics came loud and fast. Some accused her of doing too much for attention, while others speculated her new relationship was a PR move to stay relevant. Certain gossip blogs even tried to dig into her partner's background, questioning whether the romance was genuine or strategic. It's the same cycle we've seen time and time again. A woman in the spotlight can't simply be happy. She has to be analyzed, dissected, and doubted. Yet Porsha didn't flinch. She didn't clap back, didn't defend, didn't explain. She just kept living, posting, smiling, traveling, loving. And in that silence, she sent the strongest message of all. She doesn't owe anyone an explanation for her happiness. Now contrast that with the reaction to Cam Newton. When his interview clip hit social media, it was like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. Within hours, X Spaces were hosting full debates about body count culture. Relationship podcasts scrambled to release reaction episodes. Even YouTubers who normally avoid gossip started weighing in. Female celebrities were quick to speak out. Singer and actress Keke Palmer tweeted, "Men worry about body count, but never about accountability count." The post racked up hundreds of thousands of likes within hours. Rapper Coi Leray reposted the clip with a single facepalm emoji and wrote, "Here we go again." But not everyone disagreed with Cam. Some voices defended him, saying he was just being honest about his preferences and had the right to his own standards. They argued that modern society often criticizes men for expressing traditional values while celebrating women for breaking theirs. And that's exactly why these two stories struck such a nerve. They force the public to confront a truth we keep avoiding. Love, respect, and equality are no longer simple concepts. They're reflections of what we believe the world should look like. Whether you side with Porsha's freedom or Cam's tradition, both stories remind us of the same thing. Change is never comfortable, but it's always inevitable. Sports commentator Shannon Sharpe weighed in on his Club Shay Shay podcast, saying, "Cam's entitled to his standards. The problem isn't having standards, it's thinking you can judge someone's worth with them." That balance gained traction because it didn't attack Cam personally. It challenged the idea itself. Even Jasmine Brown eventually spoke out. In a brief Instagram story, she didn't mention Cam by name, but her message was unmistakable. Ladies, never let anyone make you feel small for living your life. You're not a number. You're an experience. That single line hit like thunder. Fans called it classy, mature, and powerful. The perfect response without feeding the drama. What made these reactions truly fascinating was how they intertwined. On one hand, you had Porsha Williams showing the world that love can be fluid, free, and fearless. On the other, you had Cam Newton seemingly reminding everyone that some people still view love as something that must be controlled, evaluated, or earned through conformity. Social media didn't miss the irony. One viral TikTok compared the two scandals side by side, saying, "Porsha's story is about letting go of control. Cam's story is about holding on to it." The video racked up millions of views in less than 2 days. Other reality stars and influencers joined the conversation, not just to comment on the drama, but to unpack what it represented. Tamar Braxton said during a live stream, "This isn't about Porsha or Cam anymore. It's about the shift happening in how we view relationships, period. People want love that feels real, not controlled." That sentiment began to spread everywhere. What started as two isolated headlines had turned into something much bigger, a nationwide conversation about gender, freedom, and respect. Some fans even created entire Twitter threads connecting Porsha's journey towards self-liberation with the pressure society places on women to meet impossible standards. And here's the beautiful irony. Both Porsha and Cam, intentionally or not, gave people permission to speak. Porsha gave people courage to love out loud, while Cam gave people a reason to challenge outdated thinking. It's messy, but it's powerful because real cultural change rarely comes wrapped in neat packaging. It arrives through chaos, debate, and uncomfortable truth. Still, even after all the conversations and think pieces, one question remains. What does this mean for both of them? Can Porsha's story inspire genuine acceptance? Or will it fade as another viral moment? And can Cam redeem himself? Or will his image remain forever tied to controversy?